There are so many people who really don't have control of their mind, and they are weak people. They constantly seek sensory comfort, and the devil is always hard on them. They don't have any willpower. There are things they want to achieve, they want to do, but since there is no sensory pleasures in those things, they constantly avoid it, and they get back to their thoughts always drive them into the hell of social media addictions or lust, or when they fall in love, they are so much into their impulsive behavior that they constantly just suffer in it, and they don't want to do it, but they still, there is some senses which always take them into the path of this hell. So, like, what these guys can do, okay, what Vajrayana have to offer for them. So there are a lot of reasoning which can be done here. Like, a modern world put so many temptation in front of you. If you walk in the street of Japan, you might see hookers everywhere. You fall for lust, you spend money on her. um like, there are many stuff, but if you look at the problem, there are like two things. One is like you do things which you don't want to do, and on the flip side, you are not able to do things which you want to do. Okay, so it all comes down to your mind, that you are mentally weak. Okay, so you might try to wrap things, bash things. You try to get rid of distractions and all, which is actually important. Okay, like your senses, if you're not getting exposed to things, if you're deleting your Instagram account, well, it's helpful, but eventually you need like more control of your mind. You really have to do it by following like practices. I'm not saying like Vajrayana practices. It is quite obvious, like even if you're like secular being or rational or something. Now, you can there are like few things which you need to understand first. So if you have like Buddhist way of looking at life, you need to understand that knowledge can actually change your behavior. So once you have a different perspective towards life, a different view, it can change you as a person, and it happened with me. Okay, so many people, they started pointing out, they say that you changed as a person a lot, you become really mature. Now, maturity have nothing to do with age. You can find people who are over 30, but they're still like doing childish stuff. Okay, they are like weak men, they don't have any control over themselves. So, like, the one example is, if you're eating some ice cream, you're really enjoying this ice cream, but the moment someone will tell you that this is expiry, you're not going to enjoy it. So knowledge can actually change your behavior. When you get more understanding of the activity you're engaging in, if you have like more visibility, more clarity, your behavior, your perspective towards it might change. So the way Buddhists understand reality is that you have senses. Okay, so there is this materialistic view word, where like atoms, molecules and stuff, and there are these sense consciousness, like for example, eye conscious, like ear conscious, your nose, your taste. But Buddhists actually consider mind also as a sense. Okay, so when you have some thought, that is also just like you looking at something, or you're touching something, contact feeling or something. So mind is also just a sense. Okay, so mind, ear, tongue, taste, like touch, all are just same. So when you're engaging, like if you understand the philosophy of Mahayana Buddhism, obviously it's going to take time, like it won't happen in just one video, and you really have to meditate towards these things. So you slowly understand that the thoughts which arise in your brain, it's empty. Okay, it's just like wind. Okay, so you have a wind, but wind does not take you, it's just a wind which is getting blow. So thought, when you do some meditative practices, when you engage in like some Tibetan tantric practices and stuff, you get understanding that these thoughts, you start looking at these thoughts just like a third person, just like how you can close your eyes, just like how you recognize that you're touching something. You can also recognize your thoughts. And when you get to that state, when you understand like a non-dual way of looking at things, you kind of the moment you have some thought like you want to scroll Instagram, you let that thought pass. Okay, you don't engage in that thought, you don't entertain it, you don't rationalize it, you don't analyze it. You just like the thought just happen like an event, and it doesn't matter what that thought is, it just passes. So when you meditate, for example, a lot of thoughts arise, but none of these thoughts can affect your meditation practices if you're a master in it. Okay, so similarly, if you're engaging in some activity, you're doing some task, and you really want to finish this task, your brain will have a lot of thoughts. Your brain will say that just look at Instagram or look at this thing or that thing. But this is where this might be a painful process. You really have to focus on like what you're doing, and you really have to let all the thoughts pass away without entertaining it. So in the beginning, it will be harder. Okay, a lot of thoughts. It's just like seeking sensory pleasure. So, like if you're in a gym and you're like doing push-ups and your body is having a lot of pain, well, you still keep doing push-ups because you understand this is necessary. You understand like whatever thoughts you have, you understand, okay, it's just because you're having this pain. Your mind is now telling you to you know just stop doing push-ups. But you have this knowledge, you understand. So pain is a very good way like to avoid sensory pleasure and just control your thought. So this might be tough for you to understand like how pain can be the way, but if you want to get like mental mastery, you really have to engage in painful activities. Like the more pain you will have in your life, the more mature, the more control you will have over your brain. So whenever you experience pain, if you're not getting any pleasure in it, and if you're like constantly because some people, some of you might start listening to some painful breakup song, and you're like, okay, I'm having some pain while enjoying the song. This is not how, like, I'm not talking about it. I'm saying the moment your mind asks you to do something because of like some sensory pleasure or something, some craving or something, you avoid it. Okay, you do the opposite of it, and it becomes harder if you have a deluded mind, if you don't understand like Tibetan view of word, if you don't understand like a non-dual perspective, it becomes really hard. If you look at like ancient time, men always used to had like a mental mastery. Okay, a materialistic world was not so advanced, but the people had like more stronger mindset, and they had like more control over their thoughts and their behavior. And this is not the thing these days. People are highly weak, they are not able to get things done. So what happened with me is that when I started following like Vajrayana in my life, there is this Tibetan way of living, which with all my Tibetan friends, there is this core nature which they had from their culture, where they you can call it faith or something, but they're constantly avoiding complex life. Okay, like the complex way of living. And you might wonder like, okay, these guys, they're primitive or something, but that's not the reason. They're in Tibetan, people believe that you have to live a life with less mental activity, less thoughts, less rationalization, less analysis. That's why Tibetan people, it's really hard to find like engineers, scientists, because these people naturally, by their culture, they're constantly into this way of life where they don't entertain thoughts. Okay, so I had to delete all my social media. I had to switch to dumb phone. I had to literally get rid of anything which is like causing me a lot of rationalization. And there are many reasons, like I find rationalization bad. It's not just like the lack of mental peace, but rationalization can one way you can justify your activity. So the moment you have some thought of doing something which you shouldn't do, you can actually, if you entertain that thought, you can rationalize and make up some reason to do it. Okay, so, and if someone criticize you for engaging in that activity, the same rationalization you can use to defend your identity, which is so much tied to this thought, this activity which you are doing. So you need to realize that like this worldview which you're having is highly materialistic these days. So the way you see life, the knowledge which you have about the world is also one factor which cause you, like push you into such indulgence, such like consumption cycle, let's say. So I meet a lot of my friends and they're constantly directionless in life. They're not able to do something, and they try doing something, they feel some pain, and they don't get sensory pleasure, some excitement, and then they rationalize. They just avoid pain with their rationalization. So the problem with this nihilistic view is the rational way of living is that it's really hard to make meaning of life. A lot of people might say that morality can come from logic, but logic, it's inconsistent, it's always incomplete, and anyone who is saying such things will always, no matter what things he will say, he will always end up indulging in activities which is bad for him. Okay, so because rationality is not the way of life. Okay, just because you have studied science and there's nothing outside you can think of. um there are a lot of like knowledge have a lot of forms. So yeah, basically it's a bit confusing. I'm kind of like thinking out loud right now, but you need to understand that all the rational people I met in life, they're all nihilist, which is actually one good justification of doing whatever you want and not having control over your mind. But if you follow like Vajrayana, you will understand why it's important. What are the reasons you should do, have control over your mind, and you will also get some perspective of life, which will make it more easier for you to have such control. So yeah, be a man, don't be a kid, and just get control over your mind and just don't engage. Like if you just win your mind. Okay, if you have this ability to just let a thought arise and let it pass, you can actually do anything in life. Like you can make some goal and you can achieve it very easily. So that's it. That was my video.